Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after all the drama of a couple of weeks ago between Censor and Simp about whether content should be made or whether it should not, Simp is finding himself in some hot water after a pretty controversial tweet comes through last night. The Call of Duty community gets relatively riled up and Simp says it's time to activate villain mode going into 2022. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button, it's the best thing you can do. Top of the television, new people, please do subscribe as well if you haven't already yet already. First of all, this I thought was kind of incredible from Valve. At least this is the rumor right now. Of course, look, we've been let down many times before. Let's see what happens. CSGO inspired approach apparently to level design across several Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer maps. So we know that this year's game is going to be Modern Warfare 2. Some people are saying, okay, how good is it going to be? Is it going to be better than Vanguard? We can only hope so. But still, there has been some talk about they're bringing on some Valve guys or people who have designed some CS maps in the past. Of course, CSGO considered like pretty much the premier FPS esports, especially in terms of, well, search and destroy. It's called Diffuse in CSGO, but it's effectively the same thing as search and destroy in Call of Duty. Now, of course, that game is played a lot higher level, especially in search, at least in terms of strategies and tactics and this type of stuff than Call of Duty is. But the maps are what's considered to be so great about the game. Right? These maps have been around for 20 years. They've been refined for so many years to be pretty much perfect, some of them, for competitive play. Now, look, if we could bring that kind of idea to Call of Duty, what would that mean? Because yes, we might get some great search and destroy maps. Then again, the CSGO maps are pretty big. They're designed for 5v5. The rotations are really long. Like, it's not something that would really work for 4v4 professional Call of Duty if you played on just the straight up CSGO maps as they are taken straight out of the game into COD. And even if you did bring some of those maps in and that actually worked for search and destroy and was really good, which could be possible, would those maps actually work for respawn, right? Because that's the thing you've kind of got to consider, that some of the great maps in Call of Duty history, the likes of Raid Standoff, for example, they don't just work for search and destroy, they work for Hardpoint, they work for CTF, they work for whatever game mode you want to play them on, even Control, right? Raid came back into, well, Black Ops Cold War. It was an incredible control map, probably the best one we had. So that's what we've got to consider here. So yes, maybe they create some fantastic search and destroy maps here in Modern Warfare 2 by taking this kind of CSGO approach. And if they do, congratulations. Will they work for respawn though? That's another question. But I guess this is more of a positive than a negative. Then again, I guess, you know, we've been kind of convinced that things are going to happen on a positive way before. And this I did think was kind of interesting, right? That apparently if they're, you know, dedicated to providing memorably unique and diverse maps, catering for replayability, this could mean there's fewer maps on launch than Vanguard. But in fairness, I talked a fair bit when Vanguard was coming up, that wow, we're going to get 16 maps at launch. This game's going to be like, at least in terms of maps, we should be able to find some good ones. As it turns out, that wasn't really the case, despite all the maps that came out at launch on this game. So maybe it's better to have a fewer number, but higher quality. But of course, well, as Saint says, this sounds far too good to be true. And as Dashy says, no way they're about to get us again. How do they keep getting away with it, right? With all these kind of, you know, they say some good things, doesn't really work out in reality. But I guess we can try and stay as positive as we can. We're going to try and make the Vanguard season the best we possibly can before we start talking about Modern Warfare 2. This then just to mention from last night, because the Challenger Cup is going on this weekend. Day one of the Cup was going on to try and decide who the top 8 teams are going to be going into the Sunday. And well, Doug St. Martin's team, after kind of what we looked at yesterday, which was this one, even though I think this is quite a while ago now actually, it was, well, they lost to Parasite's team, Doug's team for top 8 in the first tourney of the year. He's playing with Silly now, Johnny and Tish. That's well, that's the team he's playing with right now going into the rest of the year. But they lost to Parasite. Didn't quite get top 8 in this one, unfortunately, Doug St. Martin. This also, as Parasite says, right, kind of a discussion on the fact that they postponed all these tournaments because the game was so broken. But I mean, still, they're playing the tournaments now for the points they would have been playing them for in December. And the game is basically still in the same state, right? There's no real third mode. They're still playing just Hardpoint and Search and Destroy. Tons of glitches, no official map set, no updates in the game rules, playing more Search and Destroy than Respawn in a series when that's never been a thing. Every team in the Cup is playing a different game, if you reckon. So just pretty ridiculous stuff. But yeah, maybe some fixes over the coming days. I guess we shall see on that front. But yeah, Parasite is still pretty frustrated with things, and you can't exactly blame him given well, playing this game however many hours a day. I'm sure it takes a mental toll, no doubt, on some of these guys. This is what Simp has to say also on the state of the Cup right now, as Gravity says lost to Gunsy and Co 3-0. Disappointed for sure, gonna steal someone's bracket next Cup. Like, obviously, I guess he reckons had a pretty tough bracket. Also talking about, okay, you know, can we have a proper map set, a proper third game mode, a clear gentleman's agreement list, and working Northeast servers? There's some of the issues right now in the game, and Simp says working servers would be a plus, right? So I wonder if there's some sort of situation going on there with some of the players and the teams, even in the professional side, on the servers they're playing on, in what still is going to be some online matches, right, when the season does begin, to kind of lead up to the majors, which are going to be on LAN. So definitely, it was kind of the Modern Warfare season, especially, where a lot of frustrations were being raised by Slasher and the like about the quality of the servers the pros were playing on. But maybe even this year, those problems are still arising, as it will. Simp Simp is describing right here. Now, Simp was certainly finding himself in some hot water last night, as we described, because, well, he tweets this out yesterday. I think one of the reasons this might have kind of blown up more than it should have done, or arguably would have done, is because of the discussion that we had a couple of weeks ago about how, you know, content's really important for the scene, how our top players need to create content, and Doug was kind of saying to Sim, like, you should be streaming scrims, or you should just be doing something. Like, Sim was doing some good YouTube videos during the Black Ops Cold War season. Hasn't really happened in quite some time since Vanguard's launch, though. So there's been some talk about this, right? And how our top players need to do their best to put their personalities out there and do this type of stuff. So Sim tweets this out yesterday. There's this like a tips thing on Twitter. Didn't really know too much about this, but maybe I'll look into how exactly you can activate this. But anyway, Sim says, I was lucky enough to have tips enabled on my Twitter profile, so if you want to support me in other ways, you can. Appreciate any support, he says right here. So, you know, thought it was a relatively innocuous tweet. But anyway, the replies to this were pretty spicy, as you may well be able to expect, given the whole situation around, you know, kind of the perception of Sim right now, that, okay, he's a great player, but maybe he's not doing what he could be doing to help promote the scene in the best way he could do, right? So kind of that perception definitely came into this, where Simp's just kind of asking for free money, right? And, you know, if people want to do so, feel free. You don't have to tip and support him, right? So there's no, like, downside to him saying this necessarily, but it definitely will spark some conversation, as Jake Lucky tweets out some of the replies to this one, like, you know, you know you don't need that, bro, you're a millionaire, rich get richer, like, you're part of an org, you make thousands a month, no need, you're a whole millionaire at 20 years old. So these are kind of the replies that you may well see, and you can kind of see why at the end of the day, there was some interesting discussion about this, right? Because a lot of people, they'll go and, like, donate to streamers and stuff that are already millionaires, but I guess some people would say, and fair enough, that those streamers are providing content, they're providing value, whereas, you know, Sim, like, what are we donating for? We're donating to his gunny, like, what's the situation here, right? So that's what some people were suggesting. So anyway, this is what he says: you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. So Sim's not having it, and he's going villain mode, as he says right here. So deleted my tips tweet. Honestly, didn't realize everyone would be so down bad that they would actually get upset over it. Just wanted to spread the word to my followers. I will say though, day by day, Twitter wants me to go straight villain mode. I don't know how many more toxic COD community morons I can take. So Sim's going rogue. He's kind of interesting, really, the fact that he would say this, right? Given I guess he is a part of the COD community. So you know, still, I guess he's kind of coming at the own scene in a sense. But it's very interesting, right? Because a lot of people, they would say, okay, like, if you're making content or whatever, like, if you're a guy like Scump and you're donating to him on the stream, then yeah, I guess that makes sense, because he's providing good content and you're giving something in return for that. The tips that Simp is tweeting about right here might not have been so much of a big deal if this kind of big discussion hadn't been had a couple of weeks ago in the COD scene, that, you know, all the top players need to do their best to promote the scene, rather than just kind of like asking for free money, right? I think that's how a lot of people interpreted it. Of course, like, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, Simp does the tips on his account, and if people want to donate, they can. If people don't, they can keep the money in their pocket, right? That's how it works. But it definitely sparked some stuff at the end of the day, and it seems that Simp is kind of looking at some of these people who are, you know, toxic COD community morons, as he describes, and saying, look, I'm just going to go straight up villain mode, right? You know, no streams for you. Like, I'm just going to go, you know, full demon mode, go off the leash completely, and I mean, just try and do it in my best to take everyone down, I guess, and maybe cause some drama and stir some things up on the timeline, which is certainly what he was doing to some degree last night. So I guess spicy stuff, no doubt. This also from Clayster, right? Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen, kind of you know, making Simp into this kind of next villain of the scene, right? As Clayster kind of was a little bit for a time, at least when he wasn't on OpTic and he was on the FaZe team that was really causing OpTic some bother, I suppose, at the end of Advanced Warfare, and other times as well. Clayster's definitely kind of filled into these shoes to some degree, if FaZe and Crimsix haven't necessarily been there to take over. But I mean, yeah, definitely interesting stuff to see on the timeline, no doubt. This is kind of one perspective here from Crone. Why is Simp asking for donos? He's a millionaire, but also people just donated Scump $10 on Twitch. Hopefully he breathes my name, which you know, is kind of funny. But I guess in the Scump case, you are donating to actually get something back for it. And I think as Speedy kind of points out, the fact that the timing of this, with them, you know, Hex and others, and all the big discussion that was being had from Octane and all these kind of content creators, that yeah, probably is a good idea to make some more content. And you know, Simp isn't necessarily doing that, but still asking for stuff in return. It's just an interesting situation when a lot of people would say that actually Simp is one of those players that's kind of benefiting from the ecosystem that has been built up by the content that has been made by the likes of Scump. Like you know, Hex would say, for example, that it's Scump and then the OpTic guys, which is probably a valid point, that have built this ecosystem into the point where guys like Simp can not make content and still make a huge amount of money being great at the game. Like a few years ago, you couldn't just play the game and make a load of money. You had to actually be doing content as well to do that. Nowadays, the league is kind of grown to the point where some players could not make content and still make money, but and that's kind of like why there's some frustration about this. It's an interesting one. Definitely intriguing your thoughts down below. This also from Parasite I thought was funny. Simp deleted his tweet, but you know, I'm a broke and aspiring Call of Duty player. Maybe one day I'll make it to the big leagues. Donations appreciate, right? I think a couple of people came with the reply saying, you know, $1, you know, $4.20 or something like this. So you know, Parasite definitely doing his best. You know, shout out my boy. He can get his cash, no doubt about it. And just to finish off with this as well, given we were discussing the kind of Challengers tournament that went down earlier on, there's a pretty nasty, honestly, 1v3 victory ace in the round 11 here. This is Johnny on Sensor's team. There was some talk about this guy might be one of the next up players in the North American Challenger region. Sensor seems to have brought him on board, and well, seems to be performing pretty well for this squad right now. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting a like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Other side's got a bomb on A now. Disabling the bomb. Bomb disabled.